Hello, this is the Literary and Jury Charge portion of the 120 class. I'm going to start off with an article. This is called Court Reporters in Demand in the Courthouses. Ready? Jotting down someone's every word isn't easy. It's even harder when two people join in the conversation, or three, or four, and they start arguing. That's life for Sonoma County's unsung legal heroes, court reporters, a tight-knit group of professionals responsible for typing up everything that is said in trials and other proceedings to create the official record. The 10 full-time and 4 part-time county court reporters are silent witnesses to both criminal and civil matters, providing real-time transcription to judges following on laptop computers. When they're not taking verbatim notes at more than 200 words a minute, they're preparing thousands of pages of transcripts a year for private attorneys, or use their unique skills to provide TV captioning. You can't miss anything, says Barry Hart, a court reporter for 29 years. It's intimidating. The first couple months I worked, I was scared to death. I thought I was going to throw up every day. A new study suggests reporters like Hart will be in high demand in the next 3 years, leading to a nationwide shortage. Market analyst Ducker Worldwide said 5,500 new court reporting jobs will be available by 2018 as older workers retire and leave the field. 70% of the nation's 32,000 court reporters are older than 45, the report said. Demand is expected to be greatest in California and 3 other states. That presents a kind of golden opportunity for people who might otherwise be considering a traditional 4-year college education, said the National Court Reporters Association. Court reporting students spend less than half the time in school and emerge with about a quarter of the student debt, according to another study. With starting salaries in the mid-$600,000 range nationwide and considerably higher in parts of the Bay Area, it's a viable alternative, said Sarah E. Nugate, the association's president. Students who graduate will hold more than a piece of paper, she said. They'll hold a job. Those lucky enough to get hired in Sonoma County will be among the highest paid anywhere. The base salary is $98,000 a year, plus thousands of dollars more for private transcription work, said Carlos Martinez, a longtime Sonoma County court reporter and president of the California Court Reporters Association. Unlike other fields, court reporters own their work product and are free to sell it, he said. You can make up to half your salary or more, Martinez said. Sonoma County Superior Court is not currently hiring full-timers, but is always recruiting for part-time help, which pays about $70 an hour. Jose Golan, the court's chief executive officer, said reporters were laid off about 6 years ago because of state budget cuts. In the future, legislation requiring court reporters in certain specialties, like family law, could increase in demand, he said. They are pretty well compensated, but it is truly a grueling job, Golan said. They earn every penny of it. For reporters in the criminal courts, the day starts about 8:30 a.m., often at a frenzied pace as defendants and their lawyers appear before judges. They take their places behind the bench, tapping out proceedings on special shorthand machines and disappearing in chambers to record private talks involving judges and attorneys. They have a front row seat to murder trials and dramatic testimony. Some have strategies to keep up with the court proceedings. Hart channels her musical talents. She's a blues singer and a guitarist to take it all down. There's a rhythm to writing in shorthand, she said. It's like playing an instrument. Martinez, an ex-construction worker whose wife is also a court reporter, said difficult names and technical terms can stump you. You ask for spelling and Google is your best friend, he said. And when two attorneys start talking over each other, he doesn't hesitate to put the brakes on. It's your absolute duty to tell them to stop or to slow down, Martinez said. The courts have experimented over the years with electronic recording machines. They are used in misdemeanor and civil courts, but many agree they simply can't replace human counterparts. Martinez said there are thousands of examples across the country where machines have failed, sometimes resulting in cases having to be retried. They've been talking about it for years, Martinez said. Technology is getting better and at some point may be a challenge to certain facets of the profession, but there will always be a need for court reporters just because of the human element. Okay. I have some congressional record, and the subject is a speech to the cabinet members. Okay, I'm going to give you a short word list. You've got latitude, nomination, judicial, tenure, cabinet, prominent, ambiguity, integrity, dedication, competence, appropriations, Michigan, regents, constitutionality. All right, here we go. Mr. Speaker, new presidents are entitled to select their cabinet members, and they should be given a wide latitude in the choice of men and women to assist them. Unlike appointees to the judicial branch who enjoy a life tenure and are independent from the executive branch, the cabinet members serve the president during his term of office. Cabinet members should have policies and goals that are similar to that of the president. I will vote to confirm the nomination of David Paul Crenshaw as Secretary of the Treasury. Mr. Crenshaw has been involved in finance in both public and private endeavors. He was a prominent figure in Michigan for many years, working as corporate controller for General Motors and most recently as Director of Finance for the state of Michigan. Mr. Crenshaw has served on the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, and he also worked closely as a consultant for 10 years to the Committee on New Project Appropriations for the state of Michigan. Mr. Crenshaw is a man of competence, integrity, and dedication. Mr. Crenshaw's record supports my opinion. In response to a number of questions which I and my colleagues put to Mr. Crenshaw at the hearing on his nomination, he did decline to give specific views on certain areas relative to the Federal Reserve and also to the questions regarding allocations of funds to special interest groups in the state of Michigan. Mr. Crenshaw declined to give details in these areas. The Committee on Cabinet Appointees was concerned about these questions and hopes Mr. Crenshaw will clear up these areas of ambiguity. Despite my reservation, I again affirm Mr. Crenshaw's nomination and look forward to working with him in the future. Okay, I've got some jury charge. This is verdict of the jury. Here we go. Your Honor, we have reached a verdict in this case. People versus Oliver Henry Ocampo. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the allegation against the defendant, Oliver Henry Ocampo, that in the commission and attempted commission of the offense, as contained in count 1, that a principal in said offense was armed with a firearm, to wit, a handgun, said arming not being an element of the above offense within the meaning of Penal Code Section 89577.3 true. This 15th day of April 2014, Samuel M. Huffman, foreman. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is your verdict. Say, or so say ye one, so say ye all. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Oliver Henry, not guilty, or Oliver Henry Ocampo, not guilty, of the crime of attempted robbery in violation of Section 1299.3 Penal Code of the State of New York as charged in Count 2 of the information. This 15th day of April 2014, Samuel M. Huffman, foreman. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is your verdict. So say ye one, so say ye all. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Oliver Henry Ocampo, not guilty of the crime of attempted robbery in violation of Section 1299.3 Penal Code of the State of New York, as charged in Count 3 of the information. This 15th day of April 2014, Samuel M. Huffman, foreman. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is your verdict. Say so ye one, so say ye all. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Oliver Henry Ocampo, guilty of the crime of assault with the intent to commit murder in violation of Section 451 Penal Code of the State of New York, a felony against Robert Quincy, a police officer, as charged in count 5 of the information. This 15th day of April, 2014, Samuel M. Huffman, foreman. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is your verdict. So say ye one, so say ye all. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Oliver Henry Ocampo, guilty of the crime of robbery in violation of Section 418, Penal Code of the State of New York, a felony, as charged in count 1 of the information. This 15th day of April, 2014, Samuel M. Huffman, foreman. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is your verdict. So say ye one, so say ye all. Okay. I have an article to end on. This is called Just Like You. Here we go. By the time I was a junior in high school, 2 very important things had happened in my life. The first was that I'd fallen in love with a young man named Cody. He was a senior. He was a football player. He was great. I knew that this was the young man I wanted to marry and have children with. Unfortunately, there was a serious problem. Cody didn't know I existed, nor did he know that we had plans. The second important thing was that I decided I did not want any more surgery on my hands. I was born with 6 fingers on each hand and no knuckles. I had started having surgery on my hands when I was 6 months old and had 27 surgeries by the time I was 16. The surgeons had taken away the extra fingers, shortened some fingers, and created knuckles. I had been a young specimen paraded at times in front of up to 500 hand surgeons. While my hands were still not normal looking, I was done. At 16, I figured I had the right to say, "Leave my body alone. I am done." My family supported my decision, telling me I could have more surgeries as an adult, but I thought, nope, I don't need any more. This is how my hands will be, and that was that. Growing up, I had a friend named Jacob. We had gone to school together since 1st grade, and we were really good buddies. One afternoon, Jacob came over to my house and we started talking about the junior-senior prom that was coming up and our plans to stay out all night on prom night. We had no idea what we were going to do all night, but we were very excited about staying out. Out of the blue, Jacob looked at me and said, "You really like Cody a lot, don't you?" I answered, "Yes, I really do." "But you know, Chelsea, there's a problem. Cody is never going to want you," Jacob continued. "Why not?" I asked. "I know I'll dye my hair blonde," I thought to myself. "I know how that works. No, I know. I'll become a cheerleader. Everybody wants cheerleaders." But Jacob said, "Chelsea, You really don't understand. Cody is never going to want you because you are deformed. I heard it. I believed it. I lived it. His words struck me. I became a first grade teacher because I thought that would be a good place for someone with a deformity. My first year teaching, I had a little girl in my classroom named Felicia. She was the most gorgeous little girl I'd ever seen in my life. One afternoon, we were all working on learning to write our A's. To a first grader, that means a big, fat red pencil, lined green paper, and a concentrated effort to move the pencil all the way around and pull down. The classroom was very quiet as everyone worked diligently. I looked over at Felicia, as I did so often, and I saw that she was writing with her fingers crossed. I tiptoed over to her, bent down, and whispered, "Felicia, why are you writing with your fingers crossed?" This little girl looked up at me with her enormous, beautiful eyes, and she said, "Because, Mrs. Price, I want to be just like you." Felicia never saw a deformity, only a specialness she wanted for herself. Every one of us has something we consider to be not okay, to be a deformity. We can consider ourselves deformed, or we can see ourselves as special, and that choice will determine how we live our lives. Okay, that concludes our literary and jury charge for the 120 class.